Hello, everyone. This is Angelo again, and I know it's been a long time since I have left a video for you on YouTube. A lot of things have happened in the time that has passed, but one of the main things I wanted to do is I wanted to bring Nghia to join me in this video conversation about our journey going through the K-1 visa process. Say hello.
Hello, everybody.
So this is my wife Nghia. We got married in August, early August. I think I mentioned that to you in my previous video. One of the things that happened, we had my former father-in-law actually performed the ceremony for us. So he stood in as a minister, and he did the ceremony. And we did fill out the paperwork. Now we actually got the paperwork in Compton from the county clerk's office in Compton, and we completed the paperwork. We submitted it, and in about probably 3 weeks, they responded back saying they couldn't read the signature. So they sent me another form. I had to fill that form out. I had to go back to my father-in-law and have him sign that form. Took that form back, and then about 3 weeks later, they contacted me again through the email, and they said, hey, we can't read the denomination of the person who performed the ceremony. And my father-in-law is non-denominational. I should say my ex-father-in-law. He's always been non-denominational. Even when I attended the church, he was non-denominational. And when I looked at the form, it looked pretty clear to me that it says non-denominational. But I understand that they can't make that assumption. So as frustrating as it was, I had to go back to him, print it out in nice, careful letters, and then submit it again to them. Yeah, it was a lot of work. And then we had to wait because we had already filed the I-495 form for Nghhia's change of status. And then there's another form, I think it's the 793, which allows her to get a social security number, and then she can start working. So we submitted that form, and then you know what we had to do? We had to wait, and 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 we didn't know what was happening, whether or not we were going to get another problem in the mail. But then luckily enough, we got something in the mail, and bingo, it was our marriage license and certificate. What is it called? It's called the license and it's called the license and certificate. Yes, that's what it's called, of marriage.
Yeah.
So we finally have that, and it came in handy because we needed to include this with something recently, right? What was that?
Medical exam.
For the medical exam. Okay, so we're gonna get to the medical exam too. Okay, but that's way down the road. So we completed the I-495 form. I did not do the I-130 because I-130 is so that Nghia could leave the country while her 495 is being processed. But the conditions are that she has to have a job waiting for her, which is not true, or a family emergency, which again didn't apply. So we figured if we just filed early, and if we were lucky, within however many months, she'll get her temporary permanent residence card and then the social security number, and she can actually start working. So that's why I did not file the I-130 form. So we filed the I-495, and I think after a month had gone by, we were looking at checking her status online.
That I accept the USCIS online account.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
to check the status.
Right. But in order to do that, we were supposed to get a letter in the mail that gave us like this certain number. And I don't remember getting that letter in the mail. You remember getting it in the mail?
No. I haven't got it.
Yeah. So we had to go back to the account that she was trying to set up and say, hey, we didn't get that letter that has the number.
Yeah. That number is like a code.
Yes.
Yeah. Without that code, I cannot access to my online account in USCIS website.
Exactly. Yeah. So that basically it's like a security code.
Yeah.
So when you file your petition, they send you this piece of paper that has a code on it. So that when you do an online account, you have to refer to that code that was mailed to your home address in order to create the online account. Yeah. Without it, you can't. And it makes sense because they don't want random people creating accounts on the USCIS website. But because we didn't receive the code, and this is not the first time we were supposed to receive something in the mail that never showed up.
We keep getting this problem many times.
Yes.
After many steps that we, at the beginning, when we just started to file our petition,
right?
Until I got visa,
yep.
Then until I waiting for changing my status.
Yes,
that's the same problem.
Same problem.
Keep happen to
yep.
us.
Yeah. And mind you, I've only moved once. Okay, she's always used her parents' address or the address where she was living with her brother.
Yeah.
But still, very important documents never arrived at those locations. And when I said that I moved apartment numbers. I didn't move physical addresses. I moved from apartment letter I to apartment letter R, for example. So there was no big deal. But still, these documents seem to be not reaching us. So we had to, at the creation account for the USCIS online account, we had to say, hey, we didn't get this letter. And once we said that, it says you have to wait like 7 days for them to go, I guess to do some sort of investigation or whatnot, for them to come back and then tell you, okay, yeah, well, here's the number that you need to use. So we waited those 7 days, again, more time waiting. And we finally got the notification, and then we were able to get her account online. And that meant we were now able, she's able to go online and see the status of all of the petitions and all of the applications that we have filed, and see, and by the status, I mean what we're waiting for, if there's any problems and stuff like that. So I can't remember if for the medical we got something in the mail. We got something in the mail for that, right? Okay, so we're waiting, and here's the thing. So a lot of people, when you start telling them that you're in the middle of this, basically it's a green card thing, but it's filed for application of permanent residence. Everybody's got some kind of amazing story to tell, like, oh, I got mine in 2 weeks, I got mine in 3 months, I got mine in this, whatever, and it's all lies. It's all lies. It's people fabricating the truth just to make it look like their situation was special, and it's not, because the website will tell you clearly how long it takes, how long you need to wait before you reach out to them and ask them what the delay is.
Is it about 6 months to 9 months?
Yes,
Right?
it's like 6 to 9 months for the whole processing thing to be completed. So along the way, there are like milestones that you need to reach, and you'll get documentation in the mail telling you what those particular milestones are. But before that, you just need to sit down and wait and shut up. But everybody say, no, I got mine in so fast, and and it's all a bunch of crap. So don't believe the stuff that people tell you. If you're going through this process, go to the website and stick with the window that they give you on the website. That's what you need to stay with.
Actually, the lesson I got from our case that we have to understand that every case is different.
It's different.
Yeah, the procedure different.
Yes.
Time different, and the document requirement may be different.
Maybe
too.
different. Exactly.
And have to remember that the immigrant policies between countries, among countries, are different.
Very
too.
different.
Yeah. So, for example, one of my classmates in the ESL class, she's from Mongolia. She said it takes her around 2 months since the first time she submitted the changing status document, yes, until she got approval. It's about 2 months only. But it's totally different from us.
Different from us.
Yeah. So far, how many months?
It's been over August, September, October. It's been almost 4 months now.
Yeah, 4 months. Yeah.
So what it did was, hearing that information, it put false hope on us. And so at the 2-month mark, we're sitting there like, oh, it's gonna come. It's gonna come. Yeah. And then
positive.
Yeah, there's like crickets. Nothing is happening.
It's always something happen in the middle.
Yes.
Yeah, you have to make a clear mind about that.
Yeah.
Be prepared for that.
You have to be mentally and emotionally prepared to just sit down and wait. And I'm fairly patient. We have been able to navigate this process of dealing with the USCIS on our own. We didn't hire an outside company or a lawyer or anybody else to do it. I've done, the paperwork on my own. I've just spent some time to research it. So I trust. The trust that I have has been earned by the USCIS, because what they said that they were going to do, 9 times out of 10, they have done. Yeah. And when they haven't done it, and we've reached out and said, hey, you didn't do this, they corrected the mistake.
Yeah.
So, and this is, one of the things that makes our situation different from other people who go through this process is we've gone through it twice.
Yeah.
So we've gone through the entire process. She had the interview. The first time I wasn't able to attend. I had just got promoted at work, and we had a big event coming up, and I couldn't leave the country at the time. And so she went to the interview, which was probably a big mistake on my part, but not going to the interview. But she didn't get the visa at the end of that interview, and then they asked us for some additional information, and we provided it. But one thing that I didn't know, there is once your petition leaves the State Department, it goes back on the clock, so it's the expiration time starts ticking again, and so it ended up expiring, and then we had to file again. So a lot of people don't understand that we had to go through this twice. And because we had to go through it twice,
we got experiences.
Woo! Yeah, we got a lot of experience. And but one of the experiences was really heartbreaking at the interview that I was able to attend at the U.S. Consulate, the second interview. And we went in. I think I mentioned this in the previous video, so you can go back and watch that. But now Nghia is here, so she can tell you. But we went there. We're at the interview, and he asked if she spoke English, and we told her that she did, but there was an interpreter there, and so the interpreter gives her the what is that thing? Do you solemnly swear to tell the whole truth?
No, we have to swear.
Yeah.
That what we are going to say is true.
It's true.
It's
now,
true.
He said it to her in Vietnamese, but she responded in English. Yeah. And so the main guy heard that, and he was like, oh, you speak English very well. And then he asked her a few questions. I can't remember what he asked.
He asked me... how can I speak English?
Right. Right.
And somehow that question lead us to a very long story.
Right.
About our relationship.
Right.
Because the reason that I met Angelo that English, because I study English.
Right.
Without studying English,
we would have never
I didn't meet him.
connected because I wasn't interested in having or trying to have a relationship with someone that I couldn't communicate with.
I have never planned for a romantic relationship with a foreigner.
Right.
Because of that.
Right. So, you know, our thing is something that just kind of sort of happened because everything was just happened in a particular way that, you know, just facilitated our emotional connection, even though, you know, we were far away. Yeah. So, because if she hadn't already been studying English and been fairly proficient at it when I met her, I would have never pursued anything. But that story was told to the interviewer, and then he like literally turned his focus from her onto me. And then for the rest of the interview, he and I were just sitting there kicking it, going back and forth, saying, "Hey, what's going on?" They're having a good time. And so I'm thinking, "Oh wow, this is easy. This is cake." And then he says, "Well, sir, ma'am, I have some good news and I have some bureaucratic news." And my heart just like went down. I was like, "What the could this be?" And he said, "I have every intention of issuing you two a visa." So I'm like, "Okay, cool. That's good news. So what's the bureaucratic news?" He's like, "Bureaucratic news is I can't do it today." And
I can change I can see that. I could see
my facial expression changed.
Yeah.
You know, I went from like being happy and to like,
"Oh, look, you serious."
Yeah, I got real serious real fast, and I wanted to know why. But you know, I understood. I'm in another country. I'm in the U.S. consulate. I can't be demanding. I can't do all this American shit that people normally do. But I just wanted some answers, so I just asked questions. I just said, "Why? Did we do something wrong? Is there a problem with the petition?" And he said, "No, everything is fine. You guys, everything about it was." Problem was not on our end. The problem was on their side.
Yeah, he admitted it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They had not closed out the first petition. Yeah. So he couldn't issue us a visa. And because he had no idea how long it was going to take to close out the first one, they couldn't tell us how long it was going to take. We had a flight back planned on schedule with Singapore Airlines in like 2 weeks.
I could not remember.
It was about 10 days.
Around 10 days.
It was about 10 days. Because we were midway in my visit.
Yeah. It means that we have 10 more days after the interview day. Because we already booked the ticket.
Well, we booked the ticket.
And because Angelo wanted me to fly together with him to US, so he booked ticket.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. I booked my flight to Vietnam and then a flight with us flying back together from Vietnam to the US, assuming that we would have no problems with the interview process.
He was very positive.
Yes, I was very positive.
Because he said, "This is the second time. I don't believe something could happen."
Yep. And it happened. Oh my God. And there's like a preamble to this story because on my flight there, our interview got canceled. And I was just getting on the flight. And she told me, I got a message from her, and I checked my email probably after 2 hours in the air. I used the Wi-Fi, and I got a message from her saying that the flight that our interview had been
Interview
canceled.
cancel. Appointment
Yes,
cancel.
and I was just like, "Oh my God, I'm stuck in the air for like 16 hours. I couldn't do anything. The Wi-Fi was not the greatest.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to think. Okay, I'm going to hit the ground in Singapore. I had like a 10-hour layover. I was going to hit the ground running. Connect all of this Wi-Fi stuff and all that, and make calls or whatever. But that's another long story. We'll save that for another day. Right now, we're going to stay on this change of status. So just know we've got a lot of stories and of hurdles and obstacles that we've overcome. So, yeah, it's been very stressful. But at the same time, the process worked. It worked ultimately like it was supposed to. So where are we? So, so that was the point where we found out that we weren't going to get the visa and all kinds of stuff happened. And ultimately, I had to fly back without her. And then actually, like 2 days later, she got a notice about getting the visa or submitting her passport in so she can get the visa. So, within 2 days, we knew that she was going to get it. We still didn't know how long it was going to take. So I couldn't stay any longer. I had to fly back. But Singapore Airlines, a shout out to Singapore Airlines, was amazing in refunding our money and even working with us to try to reschedule our flight at no cost for a time when the visa was going to be ready. And 100, all we had to do was send them all of the notices that we got from the USCIS, and they were on it just like that. Yeah. I can't think of any other airline that would have done that.
Actually, I was very impressed with the way the Singapore airline support my case.
Yeah.
Yeah. After I got the result in the interview that we could not get the visa on time, that I mailed the Singapore airline to cancel my booking. And they feedback me, they respond me immediately after around 15 minutes. They said if I can prove that I could not get the visa because of USCIS, because of US consulate, blah, 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 they can return 100%
of her
money. And they said the return procedure may take around 45 days, but only 5 days. I got back my money.
Yep.
And 100%. I didn't pay anything.
Yep. And that was Singapore Airlines. Amazing. So we are loyal fans and we'll be fine with them again.
Yeah.
Okay. So jumping ahead to now, we have gotten the form or the code, and she's created an online ID, and so now we're in a holding pattern. Mind you, this is August, September, October-ish, around that time, and Nghia, as part of the visa process, before you even get to the point where you have the interview, because we had the interview earlier this year. Part of that whole process, she had to have physical and all this kind of stuff, and she had to get shots and vaccinations. All that has to be taken care of. But there's a time limit on that stuff. And so we're here, and we waited almost the full 90 days. Because, when she arrives, it's a 90-day visa, 90-day fiance, all that kind of stuff. So we waited almost a full 90 days before we got married. And then we got married, we filed for the petition, we filed for the change of status, and then a few months elapsed after that. And unbeknownst to us, that expiration date on the first physical came and went. So then we got notice that she needed to take another physical.
Because the physical is same, the medication, medical
medical
exam
exam.
are just valid within 6 months.
Yes, it's only valid for 6 months.
Yeah.
So that 6 months had come and gone.
So the one I got before the visa interview when I was in Vietnam, more than 6 months. So that's why now if I want, if USCIS review my petition, they found that my medical exam expired. So I had to make another one.
Right.
Take another one.
So if we had theoretically, if we had filed for the change of status sooner, we may have come within the before the expiration date of the first medical exam. We may have made that cutoff, depending on how fast they process the paperwork. But I think it's safe to say that if you're going through this process and you take the medical exam for your visa and you take it in your fiance's country, she takes it in that country, that you can consider it only good for the purpose of the visa to enter the United States. That any other time that a medical exam is required, you will 9 times out of 10 have to take a second medical exam. And that medical exam has to be by a civil surgeon. So we had to, check right on the website. There's a list based on your zip code, where you can find local civil surgeons who meet the criteria. It's got to be done by a civil surgeon, not your spouse's family doctor, nothing like that. It's got to be a civil surgeon, somebody who's designated by the government to perform these exams.
The exam cost is
that's the next thing. The exam cost. Whoa, it's a big window of how much it costs. The very first person I chose, and I'm whatever.
At first, we thought the cost is first like standard.
Yes.
We thought that.
So when she took the exam, the medical exam in Vietnam, it's a fixed cost. It's kind of sort of built into the DS 160.
Around
$200. It's like $220.
Around 250 of 230.
Yeah, somewhere around that. So and both times she had to take it for both interviews. We paid somewhere between $220 and $250. So I'm assuming, okay, no problem. It's going to be about the same. This exam isn't necessarily covered by your personal insurance. And she is not yet on my insurance policy. So we called one place and they gave us a price of $350, not counting any vaccinations that she needs to take or any x-rays or stuff like that. And I said, okay, no problem. So I looked for one that was a little closer. I called 2 others, and the price like almost doubled. Literally almost doubled. $700. $650.
The second one, right?
Yeah, and I was like, these people are crazy. It's a medical exam. Why are you charging me this much money?
But the gap is very big.
Very big.
Between
and there's no reason for it.
Yeah.
There's no reason for it. They're not providing any extra services. They're not providing the speed of a fast service or anything like that. It's just the price goes up. So I said no. We went with the first lady, and they actually turned out very, very good. Nice, clean office. Everyone was very professional. They were very just on top of it. They they told us to bring what we needed to bring so that the doctor had everything that he needed. I downloaded the medical form and filled it out at home, but then brought it with us, and then she went in to the exam. You want to talk about that?
So make sure that you call several different places.
Yes.
Yeah.
Call several.
You make a decision where you will go. Yeah, because you should check first to see how much they quote you, so you can find a reasonable price.
Yes, so definitely do that. It's worth the extra time and effort to call a bunch of different places. so that you don't end up paying literally hundreds more than you need to pay. Yeah, almost double. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. So we went there. Let's say I called on a Tuesday. They said to come by to fill out some paperwork. So we came by 2 days later to fill out all of the paperwork, and we presented them with the paperwork. And at that exam, we needed to give them a copy of our marriage certificate. So I was glad that we finally had this thing. And then the appointment was, I think, the following Monday. Yeah, so we came back for the appointment. We filled out the paperwork on Thursday. She came back for the appointment on Monday. It took maybe 45 minutes. Then let's see what. There was some issues with her vaccination record. And mind you, we had survived COVID and all that kind of stuff, and she was in Vietnam during COVID. Yeah. She got the Chinese vaccine, and then she's got the other one. Moderna. Yeah. So she got 3 different vaccines and the boosters and stuff. And it's all in her vaccination record. Part of what she had to do was go out to these different entities that she's gotten these vaccinations from, and they have it all incorporated into one document. And so that's what we were able to present to the doctor. But some of it was in Vietnamese, and they couldn't determine what was what. So she just came in and said, yeah, this is the one right here. This is the Moderna one. And then we was like, okay. And then sign off on it.
No, actually, all the vaccination record in two languages, Vietnamese and English. But they have 2 pages. But the clinic just look in one page.
He didn't look at the other page. That's okay. So that's what happened. He didn't look at the other page because it's funny because when we went back to get the document, because he called me to say, hey, I have some questions about vaccination. I'm looking at the thing from there, and I'm like, well, it's right here. How hard is it to see this? But it turns out he didn't look on the reverse page of the document, which once she pointed it out.
Actually, I took most of required vaccine.
Yeah, she had taken everything.
When I was in Vietnam.
Yeah, the very first time she went through a ton of vaccinations. Yeah. Ton, because a lot of them she hadn't had, and then because she was a certain age, there were others that you're supposed to get, like when you're 20, 35, 40, something like that, that she had to take. So she's taken a lot of vaccines. So we knew that wasn't going to be a big issue, and there weren't any issues, weren't any medical issues or anything. We got the form from them. It was signed. They gave us a copy. Then they gave us another form that was sealed in an envelope, and it said for the USCIS open only. So we took that, took it home. I prepared a priority mail envelope so I can track it. Since I paid $350 for the medical exam. I put for the insurance. I insured it for $350 because if it got lost and we had to pay for another medical exam, that money was going to get reimbursed to me. So we did that. I mailed it off. Actually, just tracked it today, and it was delivered to the PO box for the USCIS in Los Angeles on the 22nd. The 22nd was Friday?
I cannot remember.
Yeah, Friday. Because the 23rd is Saturday, 24th, Christmas Eve, was Sunday, and Christmas was the 25th. Okay. So with the holiday and everything, I'm not too worried about it. I know it's there. We always fill out our forms with this electronic notification form called the G1145. Basically, you put your mobile phone number, your email address, and something else. And then once they check in that document and put it enter that material into the system, the G1145 tells them how and who to notify. So we'll both get a text message, or we'll both get an email address saying, "Hey, the medical exam has been received, and now it's going to be entered into the system." From that point, we just wait again.
Yeah, we have to wait.
Yeah, so we'll just wait again. Now we got some interesting news because we're still trying to go and do life and that whole thing. This has been Nia's first Christmas in the United States. So my kids have been here and we did a gift opening thing in front of the tree. I'm going to post some of those images with this video. We even did this little thing on Facebook, this little singing thing, because she came up with this new song, this Vietnamese song, and we did this thing and we posted it on Facebook, and it got like a whole bunch of views or whatnot.
Yes.
So I'm going to post that with this video as well. Just watched it until the very end. But we're trying to do we're trying to live a normal life while we are waiting for this information. And so Nia's been going to an English as a second language class with in the community that we live. It's offered for free. So she's got a chance to interact with other ESL students from other countries. Yeah. That's how she mentioned the young lady from Mongolia. There's folks from where?
From Korea. Then Mexico.
Mexico.
And Nicaragua.
Nicaragua. Okay.
Japan.
Taiwan. China.
Brazil. Yeah, it's like I have many friends from different countries.
Yeah, so many friends. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, and I feel it's very interesting that I got to learn English by accent. Do you understand?
Oh, by accent. Yes.
Yeah, because for example, several days, or actually not several days, several weeks, when I just met the classmate who from Nicaragua, I could not understand him at all.
Right.
But after 2 weeks, now I can understand him more and more.
Right.
So I think, actually, like it's very interesting.
Yeah.
To study English with people who speak English as second language.
Yes.
It's even more interesting
than a straight up boring English. American English speaker, native speaker.
Learning English with native speakers, you know.
Because it forces her to listen and comprehend, and then try to figure out what the word is that this person is trying to say.
You train your ears to understand how Koreans speak English, Taiwanese, Chinese speak English, and other students from different countries, they speak English.
Right.
Compared to native speakers, or compared to the correct pronunciation.
Correct. You know, exactly.
It's challenging, but I feel interesting, you know.
Yeah. And because just as give you a little perspective, the community that I live in, that we live in, is very diverse. It's very mixed. There's a large population of Koreans, large population of Chinese, large population of Filipinos, and I'm actually in an area called Little India, so it's mostly Indian folks here. There's some Persian folks around as well. Then of course there's a sprinkling of black folks and a sprinkling of some Caucasians as well. And just recently we've started to see some Vietnamese come and move into the area as well. This is one of the best school districts in Southern California. This is where my 4 children all went to school through the ABC Unified School District. So this is why I chose to stay here. I got 2 more who are in high school right now, And once they graduate from high school, we'll probably be moving on to greener pastures, which don't include the United States. But we'll work that out as time goes by. Right now, we need to get her status changed, and she needs to learn how to.
Oh, but actually, while waiting for the the petition done, we learned something very funny about driving license.
Right.
And it's a very long story.
Yes.
So I think we will share our story about driving license in another video. Yeah, that's very another interesting thing. Yes. And I'm sure that not a lot of people knows about this.
Yeah, yeah, and it was something that we found out accidentally, but we found out because the lady was really trying to help us.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh yeah. Okay. We won't say it.
No.
Just
right now.
Just understand that I'm an OG passport bro, OG original gangster passport brother. So it was unexpected and it was very helpful, and we'll talk about it more later. But right now, we are all caught up, right? We're all caught up in everything that's happened in the last 3 months. We're getting ready to go into the new year. Nia's finished singing Feliz Navidad because Christmas is over.
No more Feliz
No more
Navidad?
Feliz Navidad.
And learning Spanish.
Yeah, she's learning Spanish too. So so now we'll talk about it's going to be the new year. You know what they say, new year, new you. My goal for this year, I need to do something about all this extra cushion that I have acquired over the past year and a half. And also since it's probably going to be, I think, a minimum of a year before we're able to go back to Vietnam to see her parents and her family. It's time for me to kind of knuckle down with my Rosetta Stone and start learning Vietnamese again.
Vietnamese? Yeah.
I've got full access to the entire curriculum. I've slacked off over the last year and a half. I still recognize some words when I hear it. I work in the Vietnamese community, so I'm surrounded by people who are always speaking the language. But that is part of our goal, my goal at least, for the upcoming year, 2024. Hopefully we'll have her permanent residency stuff situated. And, Nghia is a very smart, very bright, very experienced woman.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And, aside from people trying to tell her to go into these stereotypical industries, I think that she'll be better off working in an environment like she came from, where she was a manager back at in Vietnam. But we won't talk. We'll save that for later. So I'm going to be trying to lose some weight. I'm going to be trying to learn how to speak Vietnamese. What are you going to be trying to do?
I try to improve my English because actually I still have a problem with pronunciation.
Okay.
My goal is not just learn English to manage a very basic conversation, but I want to be master in English.
There you go.
Yeah, and I have two options about other languages that I plan to study more. First Spanish, and the second one is Mandarin. Actually, I have a basic knowledge about Mandarin because I did study this language about 6 months, many years before. Anyway, when I came to US, I see that Spanish is spoken
in California. Spanish is a big language.
So I'm thinking whether should I study Spanish first and then come back to improve my Mandarin later. I still figure thinking about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So language,
Languages.
learning languages,
Yeah.
and me getting fit and getting sexy like I used to be. And then really trying to build some online businesses as some side hustles that I've been working on for the last year and a half to have them grow and support us as we plan for our life together, which I hope includes a lot of travel. There are many places I want to visit. A lot of them are in Southeast Asia, so hopefully that will manifest itself in the upcoming months and years. And in the meantime, we will always come back and check in with you all to share the new updates and status and things that are going on.
Share about our driving license.
Yes. Well,
It's a funny
so you
story.
heard that go. So with that, please, thank you for watching the entire video. Watch more because I'm going to add some little clips of some things that we've taken around the house. And we'll see you in the next video, right?
Yes.
All right. Peace out.
Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.
Bye.